Hey guys, it's Alex and welcome back to this week's Hand of the Week right here from Las Vegas. So this week I'm going to teach you the best way to improve at poker, the best way to take your game to the next level without spending any extra time. Now this may sound like some impossible trick, but I could assure you it's what all the best players are doing. So I'm going to use an example I played, a hand I played from the 10K World Series of Poker 6 Max event to better illustrate this point. So the following hand takes place, and again I'm not in the hand, so how to improve without playing any hands. I'm not in the hand, and I'm observing my two opponents play a hand. And one guy whom I've never played with has been very aggressive, and he bets, gets called on the river, and he's bluffing. So he announces out loud, Jack high. His opponent doesn't say anything, and after a few moments go by, he announces again, Jack high. Now his opponent doesn't show his hand, and he says, you either have to show or muck. At this point, the gentleman gets very frustrated, saying that he already announced that he was bluffing, and his opponent should just show the winning hand and let him kind of save face, if you will. But the opponent didn't do this, and so he flipped over Jack high, and he had absolutely nothing. Now, there's an important point to distinguish here. It would be much different if he had Jack high, but let's say he had a huge straight draw, a huge flush draw, and he had some monster draw that missed, and now he was bluffing on the river. But he actually had absolutely nothing. And the important distinction to make here is that you now know a lot of information about your opponent. You know that he's capable of bluffing with any two cards in any situation, as opposed to only bluffing with, say, a very standard hand, like a straight flush draw that missed. And he was very upset about the whole etiquette of the situation. And I know many of you have found yourself in this spot, so I have as well, and so it's a little bit of a debate about what the right thing to do is. And in my opinion, I think that the best thing to do here is just to say, your hand is no good, but if I'm going to show you my hand and you're going to gain information, I would like to see yours, so you could just say your hand is no good and let them ultimately make the decision. Now, the reason this is so important, the reason this information came into play is because a couple hands later, I had re-raised the same gentleman, and I was put in a very tough spot on the river. And I had checked the flop, and he had bet, and he had bet, and he had bet, and now I'm on the river deciding whether or not to make a big call, essentially only beating a bluff. And I did opt to call, and it was because I had seen in the past that this guy was capable of bluffing with any two cards in any situation. Now, the way that you could use this information to help you is by always observing what your opponents are doing at the table. And something as simple as a showdown, going to the end of the cards where you could see the cards exposed, is ultimately the best way to improve at poker. Not only are you going to get a ton of free information, but you're also going to get into the heads of how other people are playing. So the best thing to do, what I recommend, and what I did my whole career to really improve as quickly as possible, is to find the players at the table that you respect the most, that I ultimately respected the most, and I would watch them play hands. And anytime it went to showdown, I would look at their hand and try and think and replay in my head why they did what they did. Why did they take the certain action they took, and how could I implement that into my game? And then I would take it a step beyond that, and I would say, what would I have done if I were him? How could I have played that hand differently? Could I have played it any better? And I would be constantly checking in with myself, asking myself all these questions about how to improve, and the best thing to do is just by watching these other people. So that's really the best thing to do for you guys to implement into your game, and a simple example of how I used free information to help me make a better decision to win more money at the table. So I hope you enjoyed this hand. Please let me know your thoughts, and if you like this video, please subscribe to my blog. I'll be sending you guys a ton more stuff that could help you improve your game, take it to the next level. So subscribe and leave a comment. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next week.